What secrets are you holding, and should you keep them? Hey there, friend. Have you ever thought about the power of a secret? Not the little whispers we share with close friends over coffee, or the casual gossip that fades with the day, but the kind of secret that could change everything if it slipped out into the wrong hands. Throughout history, the rise and fall of empires, the fate of mighty kingdoms, and even the destinies of powerful individuals have often hinged on a single revealed secret. Think of a hidden alliance that toppled a throne, or a whispered betrayal that shifted the course of a war. Secrets can be like shields, guarding us from harm and preserving our safety. Or they can turn into double-edged swords, leading to our downfall if we're not careful with whom we trust. The ancient Stoics, those brilliant minds like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, understood this dynamic better than most. Living in a world of political intrigue, personal struggles, and constant upheaval, they honed a discipline of silence and discretion, a deliberate practice that protected their dignity and inner peace amidst the chaos. They knew that what you hold close can define your strength, and what you reveal can either build you up or tear you down. Today, I'm excited to share with you 10 things they say you should keep to yourself. 10 subjects so vital that revealing them to just anyone could leave you vulnerable in ways you might not expect. These aren't just random tips thrown together for the sake of advice. They're interconnected pieces of Stoic wisdom, each one building on the last to create a framework for living with more strength, clarity, and control over your life. The Stoics believed that discretion was a form of self-mastery, a way to guard your mind and heart from the judgments, envy, or misunderstandings of others. Whether it's your deepest fears, your grandest ambitions, or the quiet struggles you face, keeping certain things private can shield you from external noise and allow you to focus on what truly matters: your growth, your values, and your peace. This isn't about isolation or mistrust. It's about choosing wisely, sharing only with those who've earned your confidence through trust and understanding. So stick with me till the end, because this journey through Stoic Secrets might just change how you think about what you share with the world. We'll explore how holding back certain thoughts or plans can protect your energy, how silence can be a source of power, and how these principles can help you navigate relationships, goals, and even your own inner dialogue with greater wisdom. The Stoics faced exile, betrayal, and the pressures of leadership, yet they thrived by mastering what they revealed and what they kept hidden. Their lives offer a roadmap for us, showing that discretion isn't just a habit. It is a philosophy that can steady you in a turbulent world. As we dive into these 10 subjects, think about how they might apply to your own life. Where might you be oversharing, and where could a little silence bring you more strength? This isn't about building walls. It's about crafting a sanctuary within yourself, a place where you can grow undisturbed by outside opinions. Let's dive in together, exploring this ancient wisdom with fresh eyes. Each of these 10 things is a lesson in itself, a thread in the Stoic tapestry of resilience. From personal goals to emotional struggles, we'll uncover why keeping them close can empower you, and how letting them go too soon might weaken your resolve. This is more than a list. It's a way to rethink your boundaries, to cultivate a quiet confidence that carries you through life's ups and downs. So, settle in, keep an open mind, and let's uncover these secrets that could reshape how you move through the world. Are you ready to embrace the power of silence? Let's get started. Keep your silent battles sacred. First, let's talk about the battles you're fighting inside. The ones no one else can see. The quiet struggles that play out behind the mask you wear each day. Behind every face you meet, there's a hidden universe of stories, struggles, and challenges that shape who we are. A complex tapestry of emotions and experiences that often goes unnoticed by the outside world. Maybe you're wrestling with a creeping anxiety that keeps you up at night, grieving a loss that still stings with every memory, or pushing through a tough time at work where every step feels like climbing a mountain. These silent battles are powerful. They mold us, test our limits, and make us stronger, much like steel forged in the hottest fire, tempered by adversity into something resilient and enduring. They're the unseen wars that define our character, teaching us patience, courage, and the depth of our own spirit. But here's the thing. Not everyone needs to know about them, and there's a certain strength in keeping them close, a wisdom in guarding these personal trials with care. Epictetus, a Stoic who faced his own share of hardships, having been a slave before becoming a philosopher, once shared a profound truth. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That's a gentle but firm reminder to handle these struggles with intention, to let them shape you in private rather than exposing them to the world's unpredictable response. In today's world, where social media tempts us to lay bare every thought and feeling, it's all too easy to feel like we should broadcast our challenges to seek validation or connection by sharing our struggles with a wide audience. The pull to post about a bad day, a personal setback, or an emotional wound can be strong, driven by the hope that others will rally around us with support. But there's a hidden cost to this openness. Not everyone who hears your story will truly listen, and even fewer will understand the depth of what you're going through. I learned this the hard way once when I was navigating a particularly rough patch in my life. Feeling overwhelmed, I turned to an online platform, pouring out my heart in a post, hoping for a wave of encouragement. Instead, what I got was a confusing mix of pity that made me feel small, unsolicited advice that missed the mark, and even a bit of judgment that stung more than I expected. It left me feeling more exposed than comforted, like I'd handed over a piece of my soul to people who did not know how to hold it. That experience taught me a valuable lesson. Not every ear is worthy of your story, and not every platform is a safe space for your vulnerabilities. The Stoics would encourage us to share only with those who've earned our trust, the select few who will hold your story with the care it deserves. Perhaps a close friend, a mentor, or a loved one who's proven their reliability and empathy. Your battles are your personal medals of honor, proof of the resilience you're cultivating through every silent victory and every quiet tear. Keeping them in the sanctuary of your heart allows them to transform you in peace, free from the noise of outside opinions or the risk of misinterpretation. This discretion isn't about shame or isolation. It's about protecting your energy, giving yourself the space to heal and grow without the weight of others' reactions. Epictetus himself knew the value of this inner strength, turning his own hardships into wisdom rather than public spectacle. So, as you reflect tonight, consider what silent battle you're fighting right now. Maybe it's a lingering doubt, a personal challenge, or an emotional hurdle. Ask yourself if it's best kept just between you and your own strength, a private forge where you can shape yourself into someone even stronger. Let that quiet resolve guide you, turning your struggles into a source of power that only you need to fully understand. Hold your self-doubt close. Work through it quietly. Next, let's talk about those whispers of self-doubt that we all hear from time to time, those nagging little voices that creep in at the most inconvenient moments. You know the ones I mean. Am I good enough to handle this? What if I fail and fall flat on my face? They tend to sneak into your mind right when you are on the brink of taking a leap, like starting a new job, launching a creative project, or trying something you've never done before, like speaking in front of a crowd or learning a new skill. It's so tempting to share these doubts with the world, to spill them out to friends, family, or even online, hoping someone will swoop in to tell you you're wrong, that you're amazing, that you've got this in the bag. There's a comfort in seeking that external validation, a reassurance that can quiet the noise at least for a moment. But the Stoics, with their timeless wisdom, had a different approach, one that might surprise you. They'd advise you to keep those whispers to yourself, at least until you've wrestled with them on your own terms, in the privacy of your own mind. Epictetus, one of the Stoic greats who knew a thing or two about overcoming adversity, once pointed out a powerful truth. It is not the events in our lives that trouble us. It is how we judge them, the stories we tell ourselves about what's happening. When you share your self-doubt too soon, before you've had a chance to sit with it, the world has a way of amplifying those insecurities. Suddenly you're flooded with a barrage of conflicting advice, opinions, and noise, Everyone has something to say, but not all of it is helpful. I experienced this firsthand when I was feeling nervous about a big presentation at work. I was second-guessing myself, worried I'd stumble over my words, so I shared my fears with a few colleagues, hoping for a pep talk. Instead, I got a dozen different tips. Speak slower, no, speak faster, use more visuals, don't overcomplicate it, and some well-meaning but unhelpful comments that only made me doubt myself more. It left me more overwhelmed than I'd been before, my head spinning with input that drowned out my own instincts. Looking back, I wonder, what if I'd taken that time to sit with my doubts instead, to face them quietly on my own? The Stoics would encourage exactly that, facing these voices in the quiet arena of your own mind, where you can engage with them without distraction. They suggest challenging those doubts, reasoning with them, asking yourself probing questions like, is this fear real, or am I creating it in my head? Is there evidence I'm not good enough, or am I just imagining the worst? By keeping your self-doubt private, you give yourself the space to tame it, to work through the uncertainty without the added weight of external voices. It is like mending the leaks in your boat before inviting an audience to watch you sail. You want to make sure you re-steady before opening the door to others' perspectives. I found this approach to be incredibly grounding. When I stopped sharing every flicker of insecurity, I started to trust my own ability to reason through them. I'd sit with my doubts, journal about them, and slowly unravel the fear, replacing it with a quiet confidence that came from within, not from someone else's reassurance. So, the next time those whispers of self-doubt show up, and they will, because they're part of being human, can you face them in solitude first? Take a moment to breathe, to reflect, maybe even to write down what's swirling in your mind. Ask yourself what's really driving that doubt and whether it's as big as it feels in the moment. This isn't about bottling up your emotions. It's about giving yourself the first chance to address them, to build resilience from the inside out. The Stoics knew that true strength comes from mastering your own mind, and this practice is a step toward that mastery. Let your doubts be a private conversation, one that empowers you to grow stronger before you share, if you share at all. How will you face your whispers the next time they arise? Guard your future plans. Let actions speak. Now let's talk about your dreams and ambitions, the plans you're quietly crafting for your future, the visions that stir your heart and drive your days. There's something incredibly empowering about holding these close, keeping them a secret tucked away until the time is right to let them shine. In a world where everyone seems eager to broadcast their next big move on social media or around the water cooler, the Stoics would argue there's a unique strength in discretion, a quiet power in not spilling every detail to the world. Why? Because when you announce your plans too early, you open yourself up to a cascade of pressures, expectations from others, unsolicited opinions, or even subtle sabotage from those who might not share your vision. Seneca, the wise Stoic philosopher, captured this beautifully with his saying, "If a person doesn't know to which port they sail, no wind is favorable." It's a reminder to set your course with clarity, but you don't have to broadcast your destination to everyone just yet. Let the journey unfold on your terms. History offers us some powerful lessons that underscore this wisdom. Take Napoleon Bonaparte, a military genius whose brilliance was often overshadowed by his overconfidence. He had a habit of broadcasting his strategies, like at the Battle of Waterloo, where his openness about his intentions gave his enemies a critical edge, contributing to his defeat. Contrast that with someone like Howard Hughes, the enigmatic business mogul who kept his ventures under wraps, moving with calculated secrecy to stay one step ahead of competitors. His discretion allowed him to innovate and adapt without the burden of public scrutiny, proving that silence can be a strategic advantage. I've experienced this in my own life, too. Once I shared a big goal with a group of friends, something I was passionate about but still in the early stages of planning. Instead of the encouragement I hoped for, I was met with doubts, questions, and a flood of what-ifs. that planted seeds of uncertainty in my mind. It slowed me down, made me second-guess my path. But when I decided to keep my next plan quiet, working on it in private, I felt a freedom I hadn't expected. I could adapt, pivot, and grow without the weight of others' expectations, letting my actions build momentum on their own. Keeping your future plans secret doesn't mean you unsure or lack confidence. It is a sign of strategy, a way to preserve the mystery and give yourself room to evolve. When you share too soon, you invite the world into your process, and that can create pressure to perform or conform before you're ready. The Stoics understood that true strength lies in mastering your own mind and actions, not in seeking approval or validation from others. By holding your dreams close, you protect your energy, allowing you to focus on the work rather than the chatter. It's like tending a garden, letting the seeds sprout in private before exposing them to the elements. When the time is right, your achievements can speak louder than words, revealing your success through tangible results rather than premature promises. This approach builds resilience, teaching you to trust your own judgment and letting your efforts mature in their own time. So, as you reflect tonight, consider what's your next move. Those dreams or ambitions you're nurturing. Maybe it's a career shift, a creative project, or a personal goal you're working toward. Ask yourself if it's best to keep it close for now, letting it develop in the quiet space of your own determination. Use that time to refine your plan, to build your skills, to prepare for the moment when you're ready to share. The Stoics would encourage you to sail toward your port with focus, revealing your course only when you're steady and sure. What's one dream you can protect and nurture in silence? Let that thought guide you, empowering you to move forward with strength and clarity, letting your actions eventually tell the story you've been crafting all along. Embrace discomfort in silence. Grow without an audience. Here is something that might surprise you. The Stoics would say to keep your efforts to step outside your comfort zone a secret, a piece of advice that might feel counterintuitive at first glance. It seems odd, doesn't it? We are often encouraged and even praised for sharing how we challenging ourselves, whether it's waking up early to read a book, braving a cold shower to kickstart the day, or trying something entirely new like learning a skill or facing a fear. In today's world, there's a tendency to broadcast these moments, posting about them on social media or chatting about them with friends, seeking that nod of approval or a flood of likes to validate our bravery. But the Stoics, with their deep understanding of human nature, saw a different truth. When you share every step of pushing your boundaries, the focus shifts away from your personal growth and toward seeking applause for being brave or disciplined. Marcus Aurelius, the thoughtful emperor-philosopher, might pause and ask, are you doing this for appearances, to craft an image of yourself, or for genuine progress, to strengthen your inner resolve? This subtle shift in intention can make all the difference, turning a meaningful act into a performance for others. Consider the example of Alexander the Great, a figure whose legacy is built on conquest and endurance. He could have lived in the lap of luxury, surrounded by silks and feasts, but instead he chose to sleep on the hard ground and eat the same simple rations as his soldiers. This wasn't a stunt for public admiration or a headline-grabbing move. He did it quietly for himself, to stay grounded and connected to the realities of life his men faced. It was a personal discipline, a way to test his own limits and maintain humility, not a story to trumpet to the world. I've experienced a similar lesson in my own life with small challenges. One day, I decided to step outside my comfort zone by walking in the rain, letting the cold drops wake me up and make me feel more alive. At first, the urge was strong to snap a photo and post about it, to show how bold or adventurous I was becoming. But something held me back, and I kept it to myself instead. That quiet act felt more meaningful, more authentic. It was my journey, not a performance for an audience. The experience stayed with me, deepening my sense of self without the need for external validation. In a world where comfort is always a click away, Whether it's binge-watching a show, ordering takeout, or staying in the safety of the familiar, these quiet steps into the unfamiliar are what shape us. They're like the wind and rain carving a mountain over time, slowly but surely creating something enduring and strong. The Stoics believed that true growth comes from within, from facing discomfort for your own sake rather than for the approval of others. When you keep these efforts private, you protect the purity of your intention, allowing the focus to remain on your development rather than on how others perceive you. It's a way to build secret strength, a resilience that grows in the shadows, unnoticed by the world until it shines through your actions. I've found that the more I've kept these challenges to myself, whether it's a morning run in the cold or tackling a difficult task, the more I've felt their impact, a quiet confidence that doesn't need a spotlight. So, the next time you push your limits, whether it's trying a new hobby, speaking up in a meeting, or simply stepping into an uncomfortable situation, can you keep it just for you? Let it be your secret strength, a personal victory that you carry in your heart. Take a moment to reflect on it in private, to feel the growth without the noise of outside opinions. The Stoics would see this as a mark of wisdom, a way to master yourself before you invite the world to watch. What small challenge can you take on next, and how will you let it shape you in silence? Let that be your quiet power, building you into someone even stronger, one hidden step at a time. Protect your vulnerabilities. They're not for everyone. Now let's talk about your vulnerabilities. The tender spots we all carry, those fragile pieces of ourselves that make us human yet can feel so delicate when exposed. Every hero in history, no matter how grand, has had an Achilles heel, a weak point that could become their undoing if revealed to the wrong eyes. As humans, we're a beautiful mix of strengths and vulnerabilities, a blend of resilience and rawness that shapes who we are. Those personal, sensitive parts of us, whether it's a fear of failure, a lingering insecurity, or a past hurt, deserve protection, a safe space where they can exist without judgment. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who rose from slavery to wisdom, reminded us of a profound truth. It is not the events in our lives that affect us, but how we choose to view them. When you broadcast your vulnerabilities to the world, you risk becoming an open target for judgment, misunderstanding, or even manipulation, which can skew how you see yourself, amplifying your doubts instead of helping you heal. History offers us stark lessons about the stakes of revealing vulnerabilities too freely. Abraham Lincoln, one of America's most revered leaders, faced countless failures and wrestled with deep melancholy throughout his life, struggles that could have undermined his public image. Yet he kept these battles largely private, allowing them to shape his profound empathy and steadfast leadership rather than exposing them to a world that might not understand. His silence wasn't weakness. It was wisdom, a way to protect his inner growth. Contrast that with Julius Caesar, the Roman leader whose story took a tragic turn. Caesar trusted too openly, sharing his vulnerabilities with those around him, including his closest allies. That openness left him exposed, and on the Ides of March, his vulnerability to betrayal became his literal downfall, as those he trusted turned against him. These stories show us the power of discretion, how guarding your tender spots can preserve your strength, while oversharing can leave you defenseless. I've learned this lesson in my own life, and it wasn't an easy one. Once, I shared a deep insecurity with someone I thought I could trust, a person I believed would hold my words gently. I opened up about a fear that had been eating at me, hoping for support. But instead, that vulnerability was thrown back in my face during a heated moment later on. It stung deeply, not just because of the betrayal, but because it made me question myself even more, amplifying the very insecurity I'd shared. That experience was a turning point. It made me realize that not everyone deserves access to the most tender parts of you. By keeping your vulnerabilities close, you create a safe space to work on them, to turn those weak spots into opportunities for growth without the interference of the world's opinions or misunderstandings. It's like tending to a wound in private, letting it heal properly before exposing it to the elements. In a culture that often pushes us to overshare, to lay bare every emotion on social media or in casual conversations, there's immense power in selective silence. The Stoics understood that discretion is a form of self-protection, a way to maintain control over your inner world. When you guard your vulnerabilities, you give yourself the freedom to process them at your own pace, to build resilience without the weight of external judgment. It is not about hiding who you are. It is about honoring the parts of you that are still growing, still healing. So, as you reflect today, consider, what's a vulnerability you can cherish and protect? Maybe it's a fear you're working through, a past mistake you're learning from, or an emotional wound that still feels raw. Let it stay in the quiet sanctuary of your heart, where you can nurture it into strength, away from the noise of the world. What tender spot will you guard today, turning it into a source of growth rather than exposure? Process your grievances internally. Find peace within. Let's move to personal grievances, the grudges, frustrations, and irritations we all carry, those emotional weights that can cling to us like shadows. They say holding a grudge is like drinking poison and hoping the other person feels the sting. A vivid metaphor for how these feelings harm us more than anyone else. It's a heavy burden, a constant murmur in your ear, replaying the moment of hurt or anger over and over, draining your energy and clouding your peace. The Stoics, with their clear-eyed wisdom, had a perspective on this that cuts through the noise. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who endured his own share of trials, taught that it is not the things that upset us, whether it is a rude comment or a perceived slight, but our judgments about them that create the turmoil. Instead of venting every annoyance to the world, seeking an audience for your frustration, the Stoics would encourage you to process it internally first. This practice isn't about suppression. It's about building resilience, preserving your energy, and focusing on what truly matters in your life. When you share every frustration or grudge, you're often doing more than just letting off steam. You're seeking validation, looking for someone to agree with your anger and confirm that you rewrite to feel this way. It's a natural impulse, especially in a world where venting is often seen as a quick fix for emotional relief. But what if you paused instead, taking a moment to reflect before you speak? Ask yourself some grounding questions. Is this worth my energy? Can I control the situation, or is it beyond my reach? I tried this approach myself after a coworker irritated me with a snarky comment during a meeting. My first instinct was to rant to everyone who would listen, to share my indignation and rally support for my side of the story. But I stopped myself, took a deep breath, and reflected. I realized that the comment, while rude, wasn't worth sacrificing my peace over. By processing it internally, I saved myself from spreading negativity and kept my focus on what I could control, my own response and my own mindset. History offers a stark warning about the dangers of letting grievances fester publicly. Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr, two towering figures in early American history, allowed their personal grievances to escalate, fueled by public exchanges and unchecked pride. Their animosity culminated in a deadly duel, a tragic event that cost Hamilton his life and left Burr's reputation in tatters, a shadow over his legacy. Their story is a reminder of the destructive power of unchecked grudges, especially when aired for the world to see. In our fast-paced world, where venting can feel like therapy, whether through a quick post online or a heated conversation, it is easy to fall into the trap of oversharing our frustrations. But the Stoics suggest a wiser, more disciplined path. Address these feelings internally first, taking the time to understand their roots, and then decide how to act with clarity and wisdom. Sometimes, silence isn't just the absence of words. It's the most powerful response, a way to reclaim your peace and rise above the noise. So, tonight, as you wind down, Consider this Stoic approach to your own grievances. What frustration or grudge are you holding on to that might be sapping your energy? Maybe it's a lingering annoyance with a friend who let you down, or a coworker's habit that gets under your skin. Instead of venting to others, take a moment to reflect on your own. Ask yourself, is this worth my time and emotional investment? Can I change the situation, or is it better to let it go? By addressing it internally, you give yourself the chance to release the weight without amplifying the negativity. You might find, as I did, that what seemed so big in the moment shrinks in significance when viewed through a Stoic lens. So, what grievance can you let go of quietly today? Let that quiet act of release be your step toward a lighter heart and a clearer mind, channeling your energy into what truly matters. Savor your successes. Don't seek applause. Now let's talk about your achievements. The moments of triumph, big or small, that fill you with a quiet joy when you reflect on what you've accomplished. There's something deeply satisfying about reaching a goal, whether it's finishing a challenging project, hitting a personal milestone, or even mastering a small habit you've been working on. But in today's world, there's an almost constant push to broadcast every win, to post about it online or share it with everyone around us, as if the achievement isn't real until it's been seen and applauded by others. The Stoics, however, would urge you to take a different path. They'd encourage you to keep some successes to yourself, savoring them internally, rather than seeking external validation. Why? Because when you share too much, too soon, you risk diluting the moment, turning a deeply personal milestone into just another topic for others to weigh in on, their opinions and reactions sometimes overshadowing your own sense of fulfillment. There's a timeless lesson about the dangers of overexposure in the myth of Icarus, a story the Stoics might have appreciated for its moral depth. Icarus, given wings of feathers and wax by his father, flew too close to the sun, driven by pride and a desire to show off his newfound ability. His hubris melted the wax, and he plummeted into the sea, a stark reminder of what can happen when we let pride or the need for recognition lead the way. Sharing your achievements too broadly can carry a similar risk, not of a literal fall, but of losing the purity of the moment. I learned this myself after finishing a big project I'd poured my heart into for months. When it was done, I was bursting with excitement and couldn't wait to tell everyone I knew. But when I did, the mixed reactions, some supportive, others lukewarm or even critical, took away some of the joy I'd felt. It was as if I'd handed my accomplishment over to others to define, rather than holding it close as my own. The next time I reached a goal, I decided to keep it to myself for a while, letting the pride settle in my heart. That quiet reflection felt so much deeper, so much more meaningful. I didn't need the applause. I had my own sense of fulfillment, untarnished by the outside world. The Stoics believed that true validation comes from within, a principle that can shield you from the ups and downs of others' opinions. Marcus Aurelius might have asked whether your joy in an achievement depends on what you think of yourself or on what others think of you, a question that cuts straight to the heart of why we share. When you keep your successes private, at least for a time, you give yourself the space to fully appreciate them, to let them strengthen your sense of self without being swayed by external praise or criticism. Of course, this doesn't mean you can share with loved ones, those who truly matter, and who will celebrate with you authentically, but the Stoics would encourage you to be thoughtful about it. Don't let your victories become a performance, a spectacle for others to judge, but rather a quiet source of personal pride. I've found that sharing selectively with those who've supported me along the way keeps the moment sacred, while still allowing for connection. So, as you reflect tonight, think about a recent win you can cherish quietly. Maybe it's a goal you reached, a skill you mastered, or even a small act of perseverance that made you proud. Instead of immediately sharing it with the world, let it sit with you. Let it be yours for a while. Feel the satisfaction of knowing you did it for yourself, not for the applause. The Stoics knew that inner validation is the most enduring kind, a steady light that doesn't flicker with others' reactions. What's a recent achievement you can hold close, letting it fuel your confidence as you move forward? Keep that joy in your heart, where it can grow even stronger. Guard the quiet desires of your heart. Let us talk about the small dreams you hold. The quiet desires of your heart that flicker like gentle flames, waiting to be nurtured. Maybe you've always wanted to learn the ukulele, strumming soft melodies in your living room, or dance in the rain, letting the drops wash away your worries, or start a little garden, watching tiny seeds sprout into life. These tiny ambitions are precious, each one a tender thread in the fabric of who you are, but they're also fragile, easily swayed or snuffed out by the wrong words or timing. It's natural to want to share them, to speak them aloud, thinking it'll make them feel more real, a way to solidify your intentions with the encouragement of others. But the Stoics, with their deep understanding of human nature, would advise you to hold them close, at least for a while, letting them take root in the quiet sanctuary of your mind before exposing them to the world. When you share too soon, others' opinions, whether well-meaning or dismissive, can trample those dreams before they've had a chance to grow, turning a spark of inspiration into a shadow of doubt. Take Socrates, the great philosopher whose legacy endures despite never writing down his own thoughts. We know him through the words of his student Plato, which adds an intriguing layer of mystery to his life. What quiet desires did he keep to himself, tucked away as he wandered Athens, asking questions and challenging minds? Perhaps he harbored small dreams of his own, maybe a wish to explore a new idea or perfect a teaching method. Dreams he nurtured in private, letting them shape him without the interference of public scrutiny. I've had dreams like this too, ones that felt personal and delicate. Once, I wanted to take up painting, imagining myself with a brush in hand, creating colors on a canvas as a way to unwind. Excited, I shared this with someone, hoping for support, but their response was a laugh, a casual remark that I'd never have the time with my busy schedule. It stung more than I expected, and for a while I tucked that dream away, convinced it wasn't worth pursuing. Later, I picked it up again, but this time I kept it to myself, letting it grow in the silence of my heart. I bought some supplies, started with simple sketches, and found a joy that was all mine, untouched by anyone else's doubts or expectations. That quiet process turned my painting into a secret strength, a song only my soul needed to hear for now. Your dreams, especially the small ones, are a unique part of your identity, a space where you can explore and evolve without the pressure of an audience. The Stoics understood that not every thought or aspiration needs to be aired. Some are best cultivated in private, where they can flourish free from the noise of external judgment. Sharing too early can invite criticism, skepticism, or even well-intentioned advice that steers you off course, diluting the purity of your vision. By keeping these quiet desires close, you give yourself the freedom to experiment, to fail, and to grow without the weight of others' opinions. It is like tending a seedling, shielding it from harsh winds until it is strong enough to stand on its own. I've found that this practice deepens the connection to my own aspirations, making them more meaningful, because they're mine to shape, not a performance for others to critique. So, as you reflect today, consider what's a quiet desire you can nurture in private. Maybe it's that ukulele you've eyed, a dance you've imagined, or a garden you'd love to tend. Hold it close for now, letting it bloom in your heart without the need for validation. Take a small step toward it. Buy a book, practice a chord, sketch a flower, and let that be your secret joy. The Stoics would see this as an act of self-mastery, a way to build resilience and confidence from within. What tender dream can you cherish in silence, letting it grow into a strength that's all your own? Let that question guide you, turning your quiet desires into a source of personal power. Let your personal growth unfold in silence. Now let's talk about your personal growth, the beautiful, ongoing journey of becoming a better version of yourself, a process that unfolds within you like a quiet transformation. Think of a caterpillar nestled in its cocoon, undergoing a miraculous change that the world can't see or fully understand. If that caterpillar were to share every step of its metamorphosis, every wiggle, every shift, it might distract from the delicate process or even invite harm from those who don't grasp its purpose. Your growth is much the same. It's a sacred, personal evolution, and the Stoics believed its best felt deeply within, not announced to the world with fanfare. Seneca, the wise Stoic philosopher, captured this sentiment perfectly when he said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." Notice the focus there. He didn't suggest shouting your progress from the rooftops or seeking applause for every step forward. Instead, he emphasized the internal work, the quiet dedication to refining yourself, a process that thrives in privacy. In today's world, we're quick to share every milestone of our personal growth, often posting about our new habits, our breakthroughs, or even our struggles on social media or with anyone who will listen. It's become a cultural norm to celebrate publicly, announcing that you've started meditating daily, hit a fitness goal, or overcome a fear, hoping for likes, comments, or a sense of community. But before you share, pause and ask yourself, am I doing this for validation, to prop up my ego with external approval, or for genuine connection, to build something meaningful with those who truly care? I used to fall into this trap myself, eager to announce every step of my growth. When I started meditating daily, I told friends and posted about it, proud of my new routine. But soon, the pressure to keep up with others' expectations, to maintain the image of a mindful person, took away from the experience. It turned a personal practice into a performance, and I felt less connected to the growth itself. The next time I embarked on a journey, like working on my patience in challenging situations, I kept it private. That silence allowed me to focus on the process, to stumble and learn without the weight of an audience, and it felt infinitely more meaningful. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor who penned his Meditations as a private journal for his own reflection, embodies this principle beautifully. He didn't write those profound thoughts for the world to see or to gain fame. He crafted them for himself, as a tool to navigate his own challenges and grow stronger. That private reflection became a source of resilience, shaping him into a leader of remarkable wisdom without the need for external validation. Your growth, too, is a personal journey, one that deserves the space to unfold quietly, free from the noise of others' opinions or the pressure to perform. When you keep it to yourself, you allow the transformation to take root naturally, letting your evolved self speak through your actions and presence rather than your words. It's not about hiding your progress. It's about protecting its purity, letting it mature into something authentic that shines through in how you live. So as you reflect today, consider what's a step of growth you can keep to yourself for now. Maybe it's a new habit you're building, like reading more or practicing gratitude, or a personal challenge you're working through, like managing stress or deepening your empathy. Hold it close, letting it develop in the quiet of your own heart, where it can flourish without interference. Take small, intentional steps. Journal about it if you like, but keep it between you and your own resolve. The Stoics saw this as an act of self-mastery, a way to build inner strength that doesn't rely on the world's applause. What quiet step of growth can you nurture in private, letting it shape you into the person you're becoming? Let that thought guide you, turning your personal evolution into a source of enduring power. Hold your emotions close. Let them mature. Finally, let's talk about your emotions. The vibrant happiness, the heavy sorrow, the tender love, and the fiery anger that paint the rich canvas of your life, giving it depth and color. In an era of real-time updates where platforms thrive on instant sharing, it's become common to wear our feelings on our sleeves, broadcasting every high and low to friends, followers, or even strangers. There's a certain vulnerability in that openness, a desire to connect through our emotional experiences, but there's also a quiet power in holding some emotions close, letting them unfold in their own time and space. The Stoics, with their nuanced approach to the human experience, weren't a tea about suppressing feelings or denying their existence. They were about understanding them deeply before deciding to share. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor whose private reflections became the timeless meditations, exemplified this beautifully. He poured his deepest emotions, his fears, his joys, his struggles, into those personal notes not as public proclamations for applause, but as a way to process and learn from what he felt, keeping them sacred until he'd wrestled with their meaning. When you share your emotions too quickly, in the heat of the moment, you might miss their true essence, the lessons or clarity they're meant to bring. More than that, the world isn't always gentle with raw feelings. Sometimes, opening up too soon can leave you more wounded than healed. I've been there myself, caught up in the impulse to share. Once, after a particularly tough day, I posted about my frustrations online, hoping for some kind of solace or understanding. Instead, the responses I got, ranging from dismissive comments to unsolicited advice, made me feel worse, not better, as if I de-exposed a tender part of myself to a crowd that wasn't ready to hold it with care. Looking back, I wonder, what if I'd sat with those feelings first, giving them room to settle before inviting others in? The Stoics would encourage exactly that, to let your emotions settle, to truly feel them in their fullness before projecting them outward. This isn't about bottling up what you feel. It's about giving yourself the space to process, to let the initial surge of emotion evolve into something deeper. Maybe that sadness, when given time, turns into a profound lesson about what you value. Maybe that anger, when allowed to soften, transforms into understanding or forgiveness. Not every emotional journey needs an audience. Some are best traveled solo, shared only when your heart feels ready, when you've gained the clarity to express them without losing their essence. The Stoics understood that emotions are a natural part of being human, but they also believed in the power of self-reflection to guide how we handle them. By keeping some feelings private, at least initially, you give yourself the chance to sit with them, to explore their roots, and to decide what they mean for you. This practice can shield you from the risk of misinterpretation or judgment, preserving the integrity of your emotional experience. I've found that when I give my emotions space, like taking a walk to process a wave of sadness or journaling about a burst of joy, they become more meaningful, more mine. Sharing can come later with those who truly matter, when the timing feels right and the words feel true. So, the next time you feel a surge of emotion, whether it's a burst of happiness, a pang of sorrow, or a spark of anger, can you give it space to breathe first? Take a moment to feel it fully, to let it settle in your heart and mind before deciding whether to share. Maybe write it down, take a deep breath, or simply sit in silence, letting the emotion reveal its layers. The Stoics knew that true strength comes from understanding yourself, and this practice of emotional discretion is a step toward that. What feeling can you hold close today, letting it teach you before the world weighs in? Let that reflection guide you, turning your emotions into a source of wisdom and strength. The strength in what you don't share. We've explored 10 profound things the Stoics would say to keep secret: your inner battles, nagging doubts, future plans, personal challenges, tender vulnerabilities, lingering grievances, hard-earned successes, quiet dreams, ongoing growth, and raw emotions. Each one is a piece of you, a vital part of your journey that deserves care, protection, and discretion. These aren't just random pieces of advice. They're interconnected threads of wisdom from Stoic thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, who understood the power of silence in a noisy world. By holding these aspects of yourself close, you're not hiding or isolating, you're safeguarding your dignity, cultivating resilience, and finding a deep, quiet strength that can carry you through life's uncertainties. The Stoics believed that true power comes from within, from mastering your own mind and emotions, and this practice of selective silence helps you do just that. It's like building an inner sanctuary, a space where you can grow, reflect, and evolve without the interference of external judgments or expectations. Whether it's keeping your struggles private to process them in peace or savoring your successes without needing applause, each choice to hold back strengthens your ability to live with clarity and purpose. This journey through Stoic wisdom isn't just about what not to share. It's about what you gain by keeping these things sacred. When you protect your inner battles, you give yourself the space to heal and grow stronger. When you shield your dreams and growth, you let them flourish without the weight of others' doubts. By processing your emotions and grievances internally, you cultivate a resilience that doesn't depend on validation from the world. The Stoics lived in turbulent times, yet they found peace by focusing on what they could control: their thoughts, actions, and words. In our modern world, where oversharing has become the norm, their teachings feel more relevant than ever. These 10 secrets are a roadmap to a life of inner strength, a way to navigate relationships, challenges, and personal growth with a steady heart. I've found this approach transformative in my own life. Keeping certain things private has allowed me to focus on my own path, to build confidence that doesn't waver with others' opinions, and to find joy in the quiet moments of reflection. Thanks for joining me on this journey through Stoic discretion. Your support means the world to me, and it's what keeps me inspired to share wisdom like this. I'm so grateful to have you here, exploring these timeless ideas together, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. What resonated with you the most? Was it the idea of keeping your vulnerabilities close, or perhaps the power of savoring your successes in silence? Drop a comment below and let me know. I'm always eager to hear how these concepts land with you. While you're there, share a topic you'd like to explore next. Maybe another Stoic principle, or a different philosophy altogether. If this spoke to you, show some love with a like, hit that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so we can keep the flame of knowledge burning bright together. Your engagement helps this community grow, connecting us through the shared pursuit of wisdom and growth. Oh, and before you go, I've got something else for you. Check out my video on anti-Stoic habits that might be sneaking into your daily routine, subtly undermining your peace and progress. It's a great companion to what we've explored here, helping you identify patterns to avoid while you build these Stoic practices into your life. Let's keep growing, one secret at a time, nurturing our inner strength with every step. I'm excited to see where this journey takes us next. Until then, stay thoughtful, stay resilient, and let's continue this path together.